Okay, so it's confession time. Today's comes from Chaz. Thank you, Chaz. Who says, Dear Father Simon and the bit part supporting players.
Very good.
I'm very sorry.
Very good.
Not forgiven.
My confession goes back a few years, but I can't remember exactly how many. Too many orange juices on the night in question, I think, and also in between. They blurred the timelines, but the details stick out for reasons which will become apparent. It was somewhere around 2009, 2010, 2011. 2012, maybe? Could be 13.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it took place in a field in West Sussex. You see, friends and I would travel around following a particular hobby of ours. Part of that was the awesome social scene which came with the world of camping. That's what we're talking about. I would usually camp in a small pop-up tent. Actually, it's quite appropriate for Glastonbury, really.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Summer holiday things. I would usually camp in a small pop-up tent at the side of a caravan which belonged to friends. We should call these friends James and Jenny, the caravan owners. As your listeners are probably aware, on caravans there are normally lockers at the front where gas bottles, batteries and bits and bobs are stored. Then in front of that there would be the hitch, which attaches to the tow ball on the car at the exact height to make it the definition of a trip hazard. Now, on one of these memorable trips, James and Jenny, the caravan owners, invited friends, Cecilia and Dougal. They would be joining us, and get this, they would be sleeping in their car, in which they had curtains.
Curtains?
Yes, curtains in their car. So as to afford them the required privacy.
Obviously.
I was in my tent, the caravan and awning were set up, and we were away. Orange juice started to flow, and dinner was enjoyed, then more orange juice. And then we eventually retired to our respective pits. And then, at some ungodly hour, I can't tell you exactly when, we know that you're a bit blurry on the details, Chaz, but it was very dark and it's late June, so that narrows it down something like between 1 and 4. I was suddenly woken to a sound that went beep, beep, and then beep. And it remained on a constant high-pitched beep. Like when somebody flatlines in an episode of Casualty.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So kind of a warning sound. I shan't tell you what exactly went through my mind and my lips, but it was something along the lines of, good heavens, what is going on at this time of day? I stumbled out of my sleeping bag, unzipped the tent, and wandered in the vague direction of the noise, and fell headlong over the hitch on the front of the caravan, of course. After much more muttering, something like, oh, whoops, I made it to my feet and I worked out that the noise was coming from the locker on the front of the caravan belonging to James and Jenny. I opened it. It was never kept locked and we were in a safe site. I found a small box which I didn't recognise was the culprit for the rude awakening. This was attached to the battery with a couple of crocodile clips, and a cable went from the other end of the box into a dark field. Thank you. I disconnected the crocodile clips and the noise stopped. Ha! I said, take that, sucker. I then proceeded to fall over the hitch again, picked myself up and made it back to bed. Father Simon, it is now that I have to say, I have to seek forgiveness from Dougal. For, as was swiftly and aggressively made clear, his continuous positive airway pressure machine, which was an essential sleep aid due to his sleep apnea, was a machine he needed. Sleep apnea is, of course, a sleeping disorder in which pauses of breathing occur more than normally. You see, this mask was being powered by the caravan battery and was beeping to signify that the power supply was getting low. If you have one, they're vital for all-round well-being and specifically being able to breathe. A sudden disconnect can have serious consequences. Let me tell you, words were said. English words. Ancient English words.
Yeah.
Said with restraint, but power. Fortunately, I can report that Dougal did not suffer any adverse effects, and the battery was able to be charged sufficiently for the following night. However, my reckless disconnection could have caused an incident of a more grave nature. However, we went on to have plenty of happy nights with orange juice plenty. I'm at the mercy of the collective. Bam, bam. Anyway, just wanted to wait for that. So now, you see, this is quite an interesting tale. It'd be very interesting to see what you guys make of this, because, good fade, I thought...
Yeah, I thought so.
What is Dougal doing plugging his very important machine onto a battery without telling anybody. Anyways, let's see what Sister Susie makes of this.
Well, Chaz, it might be Dougal should have probably told you what was going on and that you plugged it in. However, you shouldn't just unplug things willy-nilly. That could have been anything. You could have run out the car battery or anything, and for that reason, it could have had really serious consequences. And I don't forgive you, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, brother from another gutter.
Well, I'll tell you this. Cecilia and Dougal with their curtains in their car. Whoever heard of that?
Yes,
Not me. It's a bit weird. Let me paint an alternative picture here.
Yes.
What if Chaz had not been in that pop-up tent and hadn't heard the beeps? Then the power was running out on his machine, and Dougal would have been. It would have been curtains for Dougal then, wouldn't it?
Very good.
Wouldn't it?
But he already had curtains.
Me callback. So that is the reason I choose to forgive.
I mean, you'd think he's probably just plugged it in for his cassette player or something like
Yes,
that.
cassette player. Yes.
I think that's so. You wouldn't automatically assume it was for a continuous positive airway pressure.
Yeah.
Could have been any electrical device.
Could
couldn't it?
have been. Yes,
Good.
that's true.
Which needs to be recharged.